Bakugo vexes me. This is a character I've been watching for close to a decade now, and every second he's on screen these days, I cannot help but seethe with an indescribable rage at how terribly written he is. Everything about how Bakugo has been developed is sort of emblematic of the wider issues with My Hero Academia's story, especially in the later arcs. Because if you pay attention and realize why Bakugo sucks so much, so many of the criticisms you'll likely have about the rest of the series will suddenly begin to make sense and it'll all just fall into place. Okay, so I've always believed the biggest problem with MHA is that the series is incredibly great at setting up stuff, building upon it, and then when it comes to actually following through with it, it's like it doesn't realize what it just set up and built up, and it just ends up shooting itself in the foot. And this is the most obvious with probably one of the biggest overarching themes in the entire series. Hero Society is fantastically unjust, and the first half of the series makes this such a massive part of the story's premise. Endeavor is introduced as a top hero who is so obsessed with the status and glory and desire of being number one that he abuses his wife and forces her to keep having children until they have one who is genetically superior enough to surpass All Might. Endeavor then routinely abuses this child, and for years this goes on before things escalate so badly at home that he needs to lock his wife up in a mental hospital. It is dark. And it isn't just dark for the sake of being dark or just giving Todoroki a tragic backstory, but it is one of the first indicators we the audience get that there is something deeply wrong about Hero Society the way it is. Okay, so what does this have to do with Bakugo? Well, Bakugo is the same, initially at least. The first few arcs establish Bakugo as a horrible person, yes, but he's not just horrible because he's mean, he's horrible because society has imposed on him the idea of superiority right from the age of 4. The reason why Bakugo gets so angry at Deku in the first season, both as when they're little kids and when he gets taken hostage, is because despite being deemed as inferior, Deku still tries to save him. And not only that, but when Deku gets his quirk and gets into UA and is able to fight right alongside him, it destroys him. This is what I liked about Bakugo earlier on. He is someone who is so prideful, so arrogant, that seeing him being knocked down and being forced to reconsider himself is so engaging. Could you imagine how soul-crushing it would be if you were an egotistical maniac and the nerd you bullied for pretty much all your life? Could you just imagine how much it would sting if not only did he treat you with absolutely no contempt at all, imagine the obsession that would create. He's just like Endeavor. Okay, Horikoshi, I see you. You established that there were problems with Hero Society with Endeavor, and you established that Bakugo's pride and his obsession with winning almost makes him parallel to Endeavor. Hell, you even have this crazy vigilante whose whole thing is that he's mad at fake heroes for caring more about status than truly helping people. So now you're going to have Bakugo realize his whole worldview is kind of messed up and he needs to grow and change as a person, right? Or you're gonna have him become even worse, highlighting the inherently problematic nature of the society you just spent the last 2 arcs showing us is flawed. Oh, what's that? You're going to stagnate his character, have him learn absolutely nothing, continue living with an incredibly warped perception of heroism, and then have him somehow fix the years of bullying and abuse he inflicted on one of his only friends by giving him a single apology?
There. Hey, don't look at me like that.
In a series where almost every character is supposed to be dynamic and capable of real change, it is frustrating that Bakugo is the only one who remains largely static. Now you might say, what do you mean? Bakugo shows elements of character growth. He calls Deku by his real name. And I would say, here's the problem. Bakugo in the latter half of the series is treated first and foremost as a gimmick character. He shows up, yells, fights, and goes back to being himself. He's like a mascot at this point. And I'm guessing this stubbornly consistent characterization is more so because Horikoshi wouldn't want his most popular character to change up too much. But it just makes him boring. Bakugo is boring throughout most of the series because it is clear something was set up and it just didn't go anywhere. Actually no, Bakugo admired All Might the same way Deku did the whole time and just wanted to be a true hero. There's nothing concerning about his behavior, or how he treats people, or how aggressive he is. Sure, we can have Endeavor actually grow and change as a person, but Bakugo only gets one half-assed apology and then sacrifices himself and dies. Wait, what? Okay, so on paper, Bakugo's death sounds like a really good dramatic story idea. You have this selfish, arrogant, narcissistic kid who's only really thought about himself when it comes to being a hero, finally understand what it means to be a true hero, and he sacrifices himself, and blah blah blah. But then, obviously, they're not gonna kill off the most popular character in the show, and you know it, and this isn't even the first time they've done this stupid fake-out death. It's just drama for the sake of drama. It means nothing. It doesn't change anything about him going forward, so you just have to wonder, what was the point? There is just nothing interesting for Bakugo to be or do after he apologizes, because his character never went anywhere. He represents everything wrong with the latter half of MHA. Character that's obsessed with power and domination? Nah, he's actually really sawy, and also he likes All Might, so he's good. Supposedly massive mutant discrimination within Japan? Here's one episode or chapter where we say absolutely nothing about the nature of discrimination. Hero society is corrupt and heroism as a profession is actively ruining society? Well, actually, every bad thing that's ever happened is because of this evil guy who orchestrated everything, and once we've killed him, we won't ever have to think about any of these things again! How does this guy rank so high in the popularity polls? Oh, yeah, that checks out.